Good morning class 12 students. So this is your subject physics in chapter number 9, and in this lecture I'll be discussing the test solution that you gave today. Okay, so the first question is, you have to tell for which color the magnification of a simple microscope is maximum and for which color it is minimum. Okay, so as you know, the formula of a simple microscope is m is equals to 1 plus d by f. Okay, so as you can see here, d is a constant, 1 is a constant. That means m is inversely proportional to focal length. So let us take two extreme colors, that is red and violet. Okay, so as you know, wavelength of red color is greater than wavelength of violet color. That means focal length of red color is also greater than focal length of violet color. This I have already told you in theory lectures also. So as you can see, your magnification is inversely proportional to focal length. That means magnification will be least for red color and it will be maximum for your violet color. Second question is a very simple question. In this you are given angle of incidence and you are given refractive index of material of the sphere and you are asked to calculate angle of refraction. So just use Snell's law, that is sin I by sin r is equals to mu2 by mu1. From there calculate r, that will come to be 30 degrees. In question number 3, it is given that after passing through a concave lens, the refracted ray becomes parallel to the principal axis. So you have to tell through a ray diagram when it can happen. So as you know, this can only happen when the ray appears to come through focus. So that means we are taking this ray, that is this ray appears to come through focus, only then it will become parallel to principal axis. Okay, so next is question number 4. In this you have to plot a graph between power and wavelength. Okay, so again, as you know, power is inversely proportional to focal length and focal length is directly proportional to wavelength. So according to these two, power will come inversely proportional to wavelength. So therefore the graph between power and wavelength will be like this. Okay. In question number 5, you are given the refractive index and you are given an equiconvex lens and you are asked to calculate focal length in terms of your radius of curvature. So it is simple, you have to just use lens maker's formula. For an equiconvex lens, r1 will be, let's say, r and r2 will be minus r. So this will become 2 by r. So from here focal length will come equal to radius of curvature. Okay, in 6th question you are given two figures and you are asked to show the path of rays. Okay, so this angle is given to be 45. This is your PQ object. Okay, so we have to take two rays from P and Q. So these are the incident rays which are falling on the prism. Okay, so now as you can see, this and this angle is 90 degrees. So that means this angle will be greater than 45, or you can say this angle will be greater than 45. That means the incident angle is greater than critical angle and therefore total internal reflection will take place. So when this ray will come here, it will suffer total internal reflection like this, and similarly this ray, when it will come here, it will suffer a total internal reflection like this. Okay, so this came like this. Now at this point again it will suffer a total internal reflection and it will go outside. Similarly, after striking this point, it will also suffer a total internal reflection and it will go outside. So at this point the image will be formed, that is P dash Q dash. Again in second case, this is the prism and this is the object. Again we have taken two rays. Okay, so again this ray will suffer total internal reflection. This ray will also suffer total internal reflection. Now these two rays are falling perpendicularly on this plane. That means they will not suffer any deviation. So they will pass through like this and here the image will be formed, that is P dash Q dash. See, because this ray is coming like this, so this is the point P, that is P dash Q dash. In question number 7, you are given a convex refracting surface of radius of curvature 20 centimeter. Mu2 is given to be 1.5, that is here, and the object is placed at 30 centimeter from the in front of this convex surface, that is U is minus 30 centimeters, and because the rarer medium is air, that is we can say mu1 is 1. So we will be using here the formulas for refracting surfaces. So for a convex refracting surface, the formula is mu2 upon V minus mu1 upon U is equals to mu2 minus mu1 upon R. Now each and everything is given in question, just put the values. you will get the value of V to be minus 180 centimeters. That is, the image will be formed at this much distance. Okay, so in question number 8, you are given a telescope whose magnification is minus 36. Now it is used to view a 100-meter high tower which is placed at 3 kilometers away from the telescope. Okay, so suppose this is your object, that is 100 meters, which is placed at a distance of 3 kilometers away from your objective lens. Okay, this is your eye lens. So let us suppose the image is formed at the least distance of distinct vision, that is at 25 centimeter from your eye lens. Now let us suppose the height of the image is h, and you have to calculate this h only. Okay, so from your theory lectures, you know this angle is alpha, which your object subtends at objective lens, and this angle is beta, which your image subtends at eye lens. So now first of all calculate tangent alpha and tangent beta. So tangent alpha will be 100 upon 3000, that will be 1 by 30. Similarly tangent beta will be h upon 25, that is this. Now as you know, the formula of magnification is tangent beta upon tangent alpha. So m will be tangent beta upon tangent alpha, putting the values of tangent beta and tangent alpha and magnification. From here calculate the value of h, that will come to be minus 30 centimeters. That means the height of image is 30 centimeters, and minus denotes that it is formed below the principal axis. Okay, in question number 9, you are given 3 lenses. The distance of the object from L1 is given to be 15 centimeters, and the distance of the final image is said to be formed at focus of L3, that is, and focus of L3 is given to be 10 centimeters. That means this distance is 10 centimeters. Okay, so we have to tell the distance between L1, L2 and L3. For that, let us first of all take lens L1. For this, using lens formula, that is 1 upon f1 is equals to 1 upon v1 minus 1 upon u1. f1 is given to be 10 centimeters, u1 is given to be minus 15 centimeters. So from here v1 will come to be 30 centimeters, that is, the image from lens 1 is formed at 30 centimeters from L1. Now for L3, again focal length is given and the image is given to be formed at 10 centimeters. So again use lens formula and calculate u3, that will come to be infinity. Now understand what is the meaning of this. Now this means for L3 object is placed at infinity. Now as you know, the image formed by the lens L2 will act as the object for L3. So if object for L3 is at infinity, this means that image for L2 is also at infinity, because these are same. Now if the image for L2 is at infinity, that means for L2 object should be placed at focus of L2. Now again the object of L2 is the image of L1. So that means image of L1 is also placed at focus of L2. So if you take this point to be focus of L2, that means your image of L1 or your object of L2 is placed here. So this distance is 10 centimeter, and this distance we have just calculated v1, that has come to be 30 centimeters. That means 30 plus 10, that is the distance between L1 and L2 is nothing but 40 centimeters, and the distance between L2 and L3 can take any value. Okay, in 10th question it is given when a refraction happens, what is the change in the frequency of incident light? So the answer is during refraction only the speed of light and the wavelength changes, but frequency remains same, and as frequency is remaining same, therefore energy also remains same during refraction. Next is question number 11. In that you are given 3 lenses of different power, and you are asked in first part which lens will you use as eyepiece and which one will you use as objective. Okay, so as you know the formula of magnification for telescope, and you also know power is inversely proportional to focal length. So from here you know we want a objective which has a high focal length, or you can say which has least power. So that means 0.5 diopter, that is least power lens, will be used as objective, and maximum power lens, that is 10 diopter, will be used as eyepiece. Okay, B part says why is the aperture of objective lens large? So the aperture of objective lens is large so that it can gather sufficient light rays from the distant object, because if it will be able to gather more incident rays, then it will be forming a sharp image of the distant object. Next is question number 12. In question number 12, you are given an objective lens of focal length 1.25 cm, eye lens of focal length 5 cm, and magnification of 30 centimeter, magnification of 30 for the compound microscope. For these given factors, you have to tell how will you set up a compound microscope. So by this you mean that you have to tell what will be the distance between objective and eye lens and where the object should be placed. Okay, so for that, let us first of all suppose the image is formed at 25 centimeters. That is the final image. Now, as you know, the magnification of eye lens is given by 1 plus d upon Fe. Now you know d, you know Fe. So magnification of eye lens will come to be 6. That means we will be requiring a eye lens of magnification 6. From the formula, m is equals to m naught into me for compound microscope, calculate m naught. That will come to be 5. That means we will be requiring an objective lens of magnification 5. Now again you know m naught is nothing but minus v naught upon u naught. From here v naught will come to be minus 5 u naught. Now using lens formula for objective lens, calculate u naught because you know f naught and v naught. U naught will come to be minus 1.5 centimeters, and from this v naught will come to be 7.5 centimeters because v naught is nothing but minus 5 u naught. So that will come to be 7.5 centimeters. So this means the object should be placed at 1.5 centimeter from the objective lens of magnification 5. Now as you know, the distance between objective lens and eye lens is v naught plus ue. Now we know v naught. To calculate ue, again use lens formula for eye lens. You know ve is minus 25 centimeters, fe is 5. So ue will come to be minus 4.17 centimeters. That means just add them. This means the distance between eye lens and objective lens should be 11.67 centimeters.